it to you right now. So this was a hot button tweet and it got me to respond to it. So he said, I'm going to need all the race baiters to explain Caitlin Clark's popularity simply because she's white, to explain why 10 million more people watched her last year than Paige Beckers, who's also white. I'll hang up and listen.
So before we continue, I was going to drop a separate video about the viewership. I do want to see if he gets it right and speaks about it the correct way when it comes to just the numbers. I'm not saying how it's his show, but I'm talking about the numbers. A lot of people are doing the numbers and the viewership wrong. So let's react to it. Something I saw on X. Let's get it.
And this one to me was a lot more complicated. Well, actually, a lot more simple than a lot of people thought, because initially people looked at this, and I could be wrong here, about Dave Portnoy. They were like, yo, well, this is just him talking about race and bait. I actually thought he asked a genuinely good question. So I am going to answer that question for you. Was Caitlin Clark just a racial phenomenon, or is there a deeper story behind her stardom? So y'all better buckle up, because I got receipts and the context, well, in the context that Dave Portnoy actually left out. So let's start with this. Let's look at the ratings, right? So you had 2023 where you had LSU versus Iowa. That did an average of 9.9 million viewers on ESPN, and it peaked at 12.6 million viewers, which was the most watched college basketball, women's college basketball game ever at that point in time. Now,
mind you, or he might say it because people are going to say, and they have been saying, oh, that's the day where, you know, if Angel Reese didn't do this, Caitlin Clark would not know anybody. Guys, that was at the end of the game. When Angel did this to Caitlin Clark, that was at the end of the game. The viewership, it was already there. It was already there. So I hate when people say, oh, Angel did this. She did that at the end of the game. The viewership was there.
Mind you, just a few years prior to that, ESPN signed the deal with women's college basketball to broadcast the tournament. So we've been always setting records all the time, because it was one of those, if you build it, they will come. So then you had 2024. That was after the LSU Iowa with Angel Reese and the "You Can't See Me" thing. Oh, sorry, the ring me thing. Excuse me. After the "You Can't See Me" and all of that stuff that happened with, I believe, Louisville. So then 2024, you have South Carolina versus Iowa. 18.7 million viewers, over 24 million viewers, as we know, shattered records. And that was actually more than an NBA Finals game that year, which was crazy, doing numbers, right? So then this year you get South Carolina versus UConn. There's no Caitlin Clark, and you had around 13 million viewers per Nielsen and ESPN. And, you know, that was a strong showing, but a lot fewer, you know, over 5 million fewer than 2024. So, yes, the Caitlin Clark effect is undeniable, but there's actually a twist to this year's story that people are not talking about. And I do.
Before he continues, please tell me we're going to talk about the 66%. Please tell me we're going to talk about the 66% versus 100% compared to the years Caitlin was there and versus how they did it this year. Please tell me you're going to do that, my brother. Please, please, please. Because I haven't seen anybody talk about it.
Understand that Dave was specifically talking about Paige Beckers versus Caitlin Clark. So, like, why weren't the ratings as strong? I thought it was just because Caitlin Clark is white. First thing that you have to examine is Juju Watkins, because Juju Watkins is the Caitlin Clark this year. It's not Paige Beckers. Juju Watkins was the most hyped, most watched, most entertaining women's college basketball player this year. Ankle breakers, fade away, uh, commercials everywhere. And then,
okay, I gotta stop. I'm not gonna say Juju was a bigger draw than Paige Beckers this year. I'm not gonna say that at all. I would say they're equal. I'm because USC was pulling in 5,000 people a game, 6,000 people a game. And guys, remind you, he said was the Caitlin Clark of college this year. Not saying she was the Caitlin Clark. Like, she was saying what Caitlin Clark did last year. This is who Juju was, as far as like her way, not as most people and fans as Caitlin Clark, because we know that's not true. We know that's not true at all. But honestly, I don't know. I don't think Juju was pulling more fans and more ticket sales than Paige. I didn't even know that was a comparison, to be honest. Now, I do want to touch on something because it doesn't seem like he's going to touch on it. Guys, this is not right. I don't know how to put it. This is not right. This viewership is based off 100% of, I'd have to do it. I was breaking it down last week. I had it somewhere in the notes, but I threw it away. Just was kind of leave it alone because this was posted quite some time ago, last week sometime, right? This 18.9 million viewership, this should be around 23, maybe even more, because I think they only did something with the 66% versus 100% they accumulated. I mean, calculated, right? So maybe I'll drop something else because I did have a little bit more of a better understanding for you guys broken down on my notepad, but this is not right. This viewership number is not right. So it's actually more for Caitlin Clark, and it's actually less if we broke it down how they did Caitlin Clark's numbers, or not, college basketball that year versus this year. It was like a different rating, different percentage like they did, okay? Let's get back to the video. Hopefully that made a little bit of sense.
Hollywood lights. She led the nation in scoring. Away, commercials everywhere. And then that matters. The sophomore at USC. She led the nation in scoring. 30 pieces like it was nothing. She got all the juice, charisma, commercials, Hollywood lights, killer instinct, everything. But here's the thing. Juju tore her ACL in the Elite Eight. So imagine if Juju Watkins was healthy. You would have potentially USC facing off against Don Staley and and South Carolina in the championship game. Now, you don't think that game would have done 20 million plus viewers?
No.
Come
No. This, my brother, my brother, let's be respectful here, man. Look, at the end of the day, you're absolutely wrong. I don't think it would have pulled 20 million viewers. I was rocking with you until now you get to this. Why? Juju Watkins, on paper, it shows she's pulling 5,000 people on average. What makes you think they would have pulled 20,000 people? And mind you, now it goes back to my point now. This is wrong. This proves my point right here. And they're going to stir any way possible to make it seem even close to Caitlin Clark's numbers and what she did. It ain't close. By the way, let's bring something else up. Let's talk about this. Since now you got me on my high pedestal, now you got me all wild up. Caitlin Clark had an interview this game with Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. Why do you think they decided to do this interview during this game? Because they know Caitlin Clark is needed. Out of all the games all year, Elite Eight, Final Four, why didn't they do it any of those other games? They had to do it on this one. Why? Because everybody was tuning in. So I want to know the breakdown between when Caitlin Clark was doing an interview with Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird for an hour during that game. I want to know what the viewership was then and after Caitlin Clark was gone. This is not close. I'm telling you again, now I'm going to have to make the video. This is wrong. This is completely wrong. They base this off 100%, and they base Caitlin Clark's off 66 or 67%. Like I said, I'm going to have to do my studies again and break it all down for you guys, but I know that this is all wrong. I'm telling you, this is all wrong right here.
That matters. The sophomore at USC. She led the instinct, everything. But here's the thing. Juju tore her ACL in the Elite Eight. So imagine if Juju Watkins was healthy. You would have potentially USC facing off against Don Staley and and South Carolina in the championship game. Now, you don't think that game would have done 20 million plus viewers?
Absolutely.
Come on now, that's a blockbuster Bird versus Magic energy. So when we talk about ratings dropping off because of Caitlin Clark, we need to be real that all things are not created equal. And it wasn't just about race or Caitlin Clark being gone. It's also about the injury and the timing because we missed out on a superstar at a not traditional power in college basketball, USC, and the behemoth, the big bad wolf that is South Carolina. So then the next thing is, why did Caitlin Clark move the needle to begin with? It wasn't just because she was white. It was because of 5 reasons. Number one, Caitlin Clark plays fun basketball.
Okay.
She gives Steph Curry vibes. She got logo threes, no look passes.
Okay.
She didn't just score, she performed. And like, you didn't just watch Caitlin Clark, you experienced her playing when you watched her.
Okay.
Then number two, she had anti-villains. She had foils. It was real villains versus super teams. You had Angel Reese in LSU, that big energy and even bigger confidence. So she had a rival. Like, she had people to go against her. Like, she had somebody, because every superhero, the reason why the superhero is so great is because you have people trying to stop them from doing it and they got to overcome. That's the story. You had South Carolina and Don Staley, modern dynasty. Gino and UConn, they're still looming. Then you had little old Caitlin Clark out here. She's out here with Iowa in middle America. Oh, shucks crowd. And that ain't exactly a women's basketball powerhouse. It was literally David versus Goliath energy. So that brings up the third point, which is the underdog versus the hero and the villain stories. They are always great. And the people love a good underdog. And Clark gave us that every single March.
Now he's spitting facts. He's spitting. See, I give you your credit where it's due. There's certain things you're wrong about, but you spitting right now. You spitting.
Because she wasn't just hooping, she was carrying a program to back-to-back title games against heavyweights.
100%.
And she was outmanned every single time.
100%.
She gave it a good damn fight. That's what people love to see. It's the stories that are even bigger than the moments. And when people have, what's point number 4? Iconic moments. The girl had, the woman, excuse me, had 40-point games, trash talk, big stage buzzer beaters, big stage buzzer beaters, because she wasn't just there. She was writing history. She was a part of history. And then the 5th point is, yes, race and culture identity did play a role. Let's be real here. Her image did help her connect with certain parts of America. A white girl playing for Iowa, humble swagger, in a time of racial and political division, it hit different. And yes, she did have fans from everywhere, from barbershops to gyms, twitted, redder, black, Latino, white. She had a universal game. I loved watching the girl play. Now, back to Portnoy's tweet, though, because Paige Beckers was great at UConn. She was talented, well-spoken, she was marketable, but she ain't Caitlin Clark and she ain't Juju either. But the question is, why?
He's spitting facts right now. And this is exactly how I felt. He's spitting facts. So like I said, I got to give him credit where it's due. There's something you said earlier. Okay, but now you speaking that shit. You talking right now. Okay.
Marketable, but she ain't Caitlin Clark and she ain't Juju either.
Not at all. She not. Paige is not, especially on the basketball court, in my opinion. And I hope that's what he's talking about.
But the question is, why? It ain't because she's not very talented. It's because she did not have the March Madness moments. She didn't have a rival. She did not have any of those things. She didn't have a villain going against her. She was at a powerhouse in UConn. They're expected to win the national championship there. An underdog edge just, it ain't there.
He talking. That and I agree. That's why I'm not talking too much. He's spitting facts right now. My brother, you were spitting facts right now, 100%. Paige is not what these girls are. She's at a powerhouse. We expect, you're at UConn. Now you spitting. You understand. A lot of people don't understand this. Paige is at a powerhouse. We expect you to win a national title. It's not that impressive. What Caitlin Clark was doing was impressive. If Juju and them girls would have beat UConn, that's impressive. So now you got to understand where he's coming from when he's talking like this. This is the truth. Paige, you play at UConn, bro. You're not even like standing out like that on your own team. You're not no underdog. You have a stacked team, and we expect you to run through these teams.
So it's not about her being right. It's also about the captured moment, because you had Paige Beckers miss multiple seasons worth of injuries. So she didn't even have that equity built up with fans to watch her play. They were just like, oh my God, it's cool that she's healthy now. So what's the takeaway from all this? Is that Caitlin Clark didn't become a superstar just because of race. She became the face of college basketball and women's basketball because she had game, she had storylines, she had villains, or whatever villains, because obviously Angel Reese is not a villain, but people and the machine trying to stop her, and perfect timing with the ESPN contract. Like,
also, she's been in a lot of big moments, and that goes with storylines. Oh, Caitlin Clark hit a fadeaway versus Nebraska to win the game, or who was it, or whatever. There's been so many times where Caitlin Clark's hitting buzzer beaters, big time moments, big time shots, so many different headlines. So storylines, that's big right there. Caitlin Clark was making noise at Iowa. That's huge. Storylines get you a long way in life.
Like, she literally walked through the fire and put Iowa on her back. And then this year, Juju Watkins was right there to pick up the torch. And if not for that injury tearing her ACL, we might have had a whole new record-breaking final. Juju was on pace to break Caitlin Clark's all-time scoring record.
Oh, gosh. I was just hyping you up, bro. I was just giving you the credit that's due, my man. What is going on with you? Come on, brother. Come on. Like, seriously, brother. We were doing so well. We were doing so well until you said that, brother. And I wish nothing on Juju, man. Fatigue. That's all I'm going to say. Fatigue. Late games where you shouldn't be in the game. Get your rest, girl. Get your rest. We understand how you were getting some of these points. Juju's a baller. She's a great player, but she wasn't breaking no record. And now that's going to be the next narrative. Juju, if she didn't get hurt, she would have broke. Stop it.
So what do you think? Was it all about Clark? Did Juju get robbed of her moment? And was Dave Portnoy out of pocket or asking the...
And robbed of what moment? Look, so we're going to end his video there, man. Shout out to you, my brother, whoever you are. No disrespect coming from me at all. You already know it's all respect from content creator to content creator. But we do talk about things, and we do have disagreements, and that's okay in the sports world. And I hope it's no disrespect. And I hope you can come on some of my videos and criticize me as well. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Come on, guys. We know that. I'm not trying to be perfect. I never said I'm perfect. I know I'm wrong. I know I have certain takes where it could sound like this or certain like that. Okay. That's great. That's your opinion. I have mine. No problem. Right? One, I think the viewership is off right here when you talk about these numbers. I think this is completely wrong because, like I said, they're trying to make it sound so close to Caitlin Clark, and there's not that big of a gap that Caitlin Clark isn't this and isn't that. They did 100% viewership ratings or something they did. I keep on forgetting how they broke it down, but there's like a 33% difference. And I know I read it and I know I broke it down somewhere. Another thing is Paige is white, Caitlin's white. So the narrative of Caitlin's white and she has other fans, that's wrong. Another thing is you brought Caitlin Clark on this game for an interview. I really want to know when ESPN or whoever's going to drop those ratings so we can see how much viewership, where the peak was at the timing of, and I guarantee you it was when Caitlin Clark was on the screen talking with Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird. They're not going to show that. So Caitlin Clark was a part of that 8.5 million viewers, if we want to be honest. That's another point. So you can't say Paige drew that many numbers because Caitlin Clark, of course, was involved. Now, if Caitlin Clark wasn't involved, do you think that number would be the same? And if they didn't do 100% of the ratings or however they calculated, do you think this would be 8.5 viewers? No, I don't. And even if that's true, there's still a 10 million viewership gap. I don't think Juju Watkins is covering that. Whether it's the right way, the 33% or not, she's not bringing in 10 million viewers herself. Sorry. It's been, the track record's there. See, Caitlin Clark has a track record of bringing in millions of viewers, selling out 50,000 seat football field, whatever the case is. She has a track record. Nobody else has that track record, so let's not try to make it seem like they do, or they would have. It's a what if, and the what if is, it's not even a what if because Caitlin Clark was still involved in this game. Somehow, college is going to involve Caitlin Clark every time. Back to another point before we get out of here. Juju's not hitting those points. It's not happening. Juju would not have hit Caitlin Clark's record. I don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't think so. Like I said, man, shout out to George. I don't know how to say his last name, but shout out to you, man. I'll look for some more content, whatever the case is. I don't see him really covering women's sports like that. I think he covers like football, but he chimed in on this one. And I had to react, man. So all love, all respect. Once again, man, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think about the video. Let me catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.